8 years old in the game, how many points did you score?
63.
How?
Like, technically how?
At 8 years old, how do you score?
Well, I figured out that most kids that are right-handed can't go left. You know what I mean? So I just sit on their right hand. I got like steal after steal after steal. I mean, that's really how it happened. I just pressure the backcourt, and as soon as a kid started dribbling the ball, I'd jump right in his right hand, and then I'd take it from him and lay it up, take it from him, lay it up, take it from him, lay it up. And it just went on, and there was nothing they could do about it.
You were pretty much certain from an early age as a kid that you were going to be an NBA player.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you feel so strongly about that?
Well, I felt like I was born to play basketball. I mean, I started playing at the age of 2, and I never ever stopped. I just played all day, every day, so it just seemed like a natural progression to play in the NBA.
Tell why you were scolded at a summer camp once for what you put on your application for what your job was going to be.
Well, I wanted to be an NBA player, and the counselor, came to me and he said, "Well, you have to pick something a little more realistic." So, this is realistic to me. This is what I want to do. You know what I mean? And he was like, "No, only one in whatever million, players make it to the NBA. Took a look around you. Look at all these players here. Everybody wants to be in the NBA." I said, "Well, I'm going to be there." And as I grew older, I was like, "Man, you know what? If I wasn't such a stubborn kid, that really would have crushed me."
How well do you recall the first time you beat your father in basketball?
Yeah, I remember it was a war. I remember that. And after I beat him, I remember he never played me again.
Ever?
That was it. That was it. He didn't want me to kind of get him back for all the years where he was kicking my butt in the backyard.
How physical was that last guy?
No, it was extremely physical. My father, he's always taught me the little tricks of the game.
Like what?
You know what I mean? Like how to get away with a foul here, how to get a little extra step here, a little nudge here. So, but the only way the way to really show me was to do it to me. So I had a lot of, I had a lot of bruises, man. A couple bloody lips.
Really?
Oh yeah,
As a kid, explain why you would study bubblegum basketball cards.
Well, because you could kind of see the little intricacies of each move, where the player's head is when he's shooting a basketball. You can kind of see all those little details.
And why were you looking for that?
Because I was a nerd.
The 81-point game in the NBA, 81 points in a single game. What sticks out for you from that game?
Probably the fact that I had pepperoni pizza the night before the game. The day that I actually scored 81 was my grandfather's birthday, who had passed away a few years before, and my grandmother, who had never seen me play in the NBA just because her nerves can't take it. She flew out to California, and she came to watch me play for the first time and the only time. And that's just so happened to be the night I scored 81.
What was that like for you with having your grandmother the first and only time sitting in the stands watching?
It was really special for me. I mean, my grandmother has always been there for me. She was one of these grandmothers who, I would play like 8 games a day in the summertime for different summer leagues and stuff like that. And she'd be like, "Boy, you need to slow down. You're getting too tired. You're exhausted." So for her to be there at the Staples Center to watch me play at this ultimate level after seeing me play for so many years, in high school and summer league was special.
When you're in the zone like that, how do you know?
Yeah, it's funny. It's a strange feeling because you're in the zone, but you can't afford to allow yourself to know you're in the zone, because once you do, then you lose it. Because being in that moment, it's all about being in that moment and not letting anything else into your mind emotionally or psychologically. And you just continue to go and go and go.
What's different about it, though? I mean, when you're in the zone like that relative to an average game?
Oh, it's such a sense of calmness and focus. And it's almost a sense of desperation where nothing else matters. Nothing. Nobody talking to you, not a fan sitting over here, nothing is relevant. The only thing that's important is the moment that you're in. And it's tough to find that space on a consistent basis, but I think that's what makes sports so compelling.
Nobody makes any secrets. They're just wasn't the close relationship there that you might like.
There's things that I wanted to do with my career, take my career to another level, that I was just incapable of doing as long as we were playing together.
The All-Star game, Kobe, that was billed as Kobe versus Michael, basically. Yeah, how about the part of that game that you really recall?
I remember him being sick, and so I think he was sick during that weekend, and I think he missed media day because of it. And when I checked in the game, I'm guarding him, I'm standing next to him, and he coughs. And I remember going, "Oh, man, cough that way." And he just started laughing. He was probably looking at me like, this kid is crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
How about the best advice you've ever gotten from him?
Probably the best advice was to be me. To be me. He's faced a lot of criticism as well throughout his career about him shooting too much and being selfish and this, that, and the other. But he said, don't change who you are. Don't change who you are. Play your game, and everybody will adjust to that. But you have to be yourself.
And how did that resonate with you?
Well, it kind of gave me the feeling that I was on the right track. You kind of start thinking through things a little bit, and then for him to say that was like, okay, no, you're doing the right thing. You got it right.
Is there a point in your career where you've really had that doubt creep in the most, or when you started questioning if maybe you should change how you're doing something?
Yeah, I mean, quite often. I think that's human nature. I mean, as a young player coming up, we just continue to get swept, and we just can't seem to get over the hump. It's like, man, am I costing my team the ability to win a championship?
Right.
What do I need to do? Against the Celtics in 2008, I was like, man, I'm never going to win another championship. Or maybe everybody was right. Like, I can't win without Shaq. It was like, this is my one opportunity, and I blew it. And then it's like, well, no, you can't. No, maybe you'll go down one day, but today's not going to be that day.
The fact that we're not going to be able to joke at his Hall of Fame ceremony. We're not going to be able to say, hi, I got 5, you got 4. The fact that we're not going to be able to say, if we would stay together, we could have got 10. Those are the things that you can't get back.
An emotional Shaquille O'Neal following the helicopter crash that killed his former teammate as well as one of Kobe Bryant's daughters and 7 others. Kobe and Shaq had their differences in 8 seasons together in Los Angeles, but it resulted in 3 Laker championships. We sat down with Shaq back in 2015, and he knew Kobe was special from the very beginning.
He had an aura about him that I've never seen in an 18-year-old. The aura was kind of either this kid's really cocky or he believes in it. And you saw his consistency of how he did it. So I knew one day that he's going to be whatever he sets out to be. And I realized that we were the same people, don't like criticism, turn it into motivation. And he was a guy that I know that if I talk smack, he's going to come out and try to score 50. And I think it's a big myth. People think you have to be lovey-dovey to win championships. And I just felt sometimes, his way. And, he's a fabulous player, just felt, sometimes that he didn't do it the right way. And I know he felt sometimes that I didn't work hard or whatever. But again, it all worked. 3 out of 4. We will be the most talked about, the most enigmatic, the most controversial duo, the best 1-2 punch in the history of the game. And what we did and what I created with the back and forth, it'll always be talked about.
You guys obviously had a very, very successful working relationship. I mean, 3 consecutive titles, what more could you ask for? But, yeah. I mean, nobody makes any secrets. There just wasn't the close relationship there that you might like with teammates. Why do you think you were unable to maintain that same working relationship for longer?
This just wasn't going to happen. It's not in the cards. I mean, there's things that I wanted to do with my career and take my career to another level that I was just incapable of doing as long as we were playing together. And which I was fine with doing until I heard him say a few times that, Kobe's not going to be as successful without me and, this, that, and the other. And that kind of became the chatter. So now once that became the chatter, I was like, oh, wait, whoa. No.
Especially for a guy who's hyper competitive.
Yeah. It just wasn't going to work. So, no matter what happened, even if we had won that championship, me being a free agent, there was just no way. I had to accept this challenge and had to see what I could do. The challenge is who you are as a person. To have to go through something like that, with not only individually, but as a family.
What do you recall from the first time you moved out of home?
Being like, oh, yes! But then it was like, Dad's not gonna make it, so, and you're just kind of like, oh, damn.
It doesn't look too great anymore.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I really have to grow up right now.
A five-time NBA champ, Kobe Bryant's relentless work ethic became the cornerstone of the Mamba mentality, but Bryant only created the legendary nickname Black Mamba as he dealt with issues off the court. In 2003, Bryant was charged with sexual assault, but the case was dropped before ever going to trial.
To what extent do you think having gone through that, it had a positive impact on you and really made you better long term?
Well, I think it's the challenge is who you are as a person. To have to go through something like that, with not only individually but as a family. It was extremely difficult, and you kind of had to do some soul searching, because you're fighting numerous battles at the same time, and you're just kind of trying to figure your way through all of this mess. And the only thing that you can do is just put one foot in front of the other and just continue to move forward. And there's nothing else you can do. There's times where it just seems like days are just endless. This is never going to end. This feeling, this dark time is just never going to be over. And I think once you go through something like that, you can't help but be different. You can't help but have a better sense of who you are.
With the court case, that was really the first time in your life where you didn't have control over your fate.
Right.
What was that experience like?
Well, you have to give it up. You have to give it up. You have to release yourself and just kind of let things be. And I think that helps your maturity a lot when you try not to control the situation. This is not a basketball game where I have a lot of control on the outcome. You really just got to let it go. And I think to do that, you instantly have to mature and to be able to put yourself in that emotional space where you can trust the process.
What do you think you learned from the whole experience?
It's a lot that I've learned through that experience, and a lot of things specifically that I went through during that process that I wish I could dive into, but it's just, I think as a person, it just really teaches you how to let go and how to trust and not try to control everything. And I think that decreases your stress levels tenfold. And you're not worrying about the next moment. You're not worrying about what this person will say. You're not worrying about what this outcome may be. Instead, you just kind of let go.
Why do you think you were able to still play basketball so well during that time?
Probably because I'm stubborn. It was like, on these days, I'm not going to stop playing. I'm not, just because you guys think I should stop playing, just because you guys think that I won't perform as well, I'm going to show you. And truthfully, it was stress release for me, because I've been playing since I was 2. So basketball has always been my escape. It's always been the place of refuge for me. So, why should I take that away now? If anything, the game is going to keep me sane, keep me stable, and help me to be able to manage these various situations.